What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Recap Lunch Hour with Guff. Me, Ryan McGuffey, brought to you by our fine partners at Hooters. Visit one of 11 Chicagoland locations. Go to originalhooters.com for more details into where to find the closest Hooters near you. Welcome aboard back in the Recap studios here on this hump day, and plenty to discuss after in the bowels yesterday of the Score Studios. I appreciate those of you who reached out to me with your thoughts after co-hosting with Lawrence Holmes yesterday. Had a really, really good time. Good to be back here in the studio. A lot to discuss. The Cubs made a flurry of roster moves yesterday prior to their victory over the Padres. It included a couple of bullpen swaps and Matt Shaw optioned to AAA Iowa. I actually think this is a good thing. He was not hitting well, obviously. He was hitting in the 160s, and he didn't look comfortable at the plate. There have been several players in the past that have been sent down and then have come back and never went back, and they figured it out and we're ready to go. So Matt Shaw down. A big win for the Cubs last night in San Diego, the first team to actually beat the Padres. And the Padres have 4 losses, and 3 of them are to the Cubs. So it goes to show you how good and impressive the Cubs have been. Josh, missed yesterday's show, was going to go off on the Cubs again like I did on Monday, but they probably heard me and guys like Godfather, and they made the small moves to improve the pen and get a W. Appreciate you for being back, Josh. Look at this. That's a beautiful thing about baseball, man, is that it's every day. And so right when you're ready to yell, they go ahead and take care of business. I'll actually hold out some small optimism now till the deadline. What's going on? Swayze, Landon, who's ready for the Meyerton Mediocrity Bowl, the Chicago Mid Bulls versus the Miami Mild? Let's go. We're going to discuss the Bulls and Heat playing game here in just a second. Eric, good afternoon. Top Guff, best bullpen game by the Cubs this season so far. Totally agree. You might want to even give Craig Counsell a hat tip too. I thought he managed the game extremely well. And, you know, you had the 2 dropped foul balls. You had Kyle Tucker in right field in foul territory. And then Gage Workman, where I thought absolutely should have been Miguel Abaya's ball behind home plate. Maybe he lost it in the sun or in the lights. And then Manny Machado, you know, makes you pay. That's what happens when good hitters, you give them extra outs, give them extra mistakes, and bam, they make you pay. Thankfully, it was only a solo home run, and the Cubs move on from there. 1 week until the NFL draft. Looking forward to seeing who the Bears will select at number 10. It's been a lot of talk. Me too. I'm looking forward. I get to the point where it's nauseating, so I'm just like, let's get there. That's kind of where I'm at with the NFL draft because I just want to see. I said yesterday on the radio, I think the same thing today. I think the Bears sit really pretty at 10. Let everyone be desperate and fight in front of you and let the chips fall. And then you can kind of dictate where you go from there with a really good player or a desperate team behind you calling up and saying, we have to move up and we'll give you what you want in order to do so. Kyle, what's going on? Happy Wednesday to you. Awesome hearing you yesterday on the Score and the interview with Joe Colley. I'm in tonight for the Bulls, so our guy Chef Paul can get a step closer to cashing his ticket. Absolutely. Chef Paul sitting at 20-1 on a futures bet for the Bulls to make the playoffs. Step 1 is tonight. They have to win. The 9-10 game is loser goes home. And if the winner advances to yesterday's loser, so it's the Atlanta Hawks, who I don't find all that attractive or appealing. The game would be in Atlanta. I think the Bulls have to win. I'm going to get through a few more comments and we'll discuss the Bulls. Lip, the NHL playoff storylines are insane. Battle of Florida. We get the Battle of Ontario. Can't wait for the best playoffs in sports. Need to acquire a third baseman. Here we go, Sean. Give the kid some time. It's 20 games in. The Cubs are 12-8. Look at the teams they've beaten. Matt Shaw will be back. They're going to give Workman every opportunity right now to go play. Justin Turner's not an everyday third baseman anymore. Right now, Matt Shaw will be the future Cubs third baseman. That's the plan, and I think it's a good one. Swayze, that bullpen was sensational last night, really against a good team. How they can keep it up. I hope they can keep it up too. What up, Breck Bear, my guy? Happy Wednesday to my guy out west. Swayze, yeah, he's talking the Stanley Cup playoffs are the best. So let's talk about the Bulls. Where do you guys sit in this game? Because this is the 3rd straight year the Bulls have made the play-in. It's embarrassing. So obviously I just said loser goes home. Here's where I'm at with this particular team. They're 17-13 since the trade deadline, and it's actually been a fun watch in some ways. There's some young pieces that make this play-in team a lot more likable, and a lot more fun. If the Bulls this was the route they chose. They chose not to tank for Cooper Flagg or Ace Bailey or Dylan Harper. Okay. So they didn't play for a top 3 pick. They chose to go do the same thing, 39 and 43, like they did a year ago. And here they are. If they go out and get beat up tonight, or if they go out and lose, what was the point of this? I think you have more questions to ask and answer if they lose tonight than the other way, than if they never been in the game itself. I really believe that. What was the point of the last 2 months if you go out and get your ass whooped by the Miami Heat? Miami's got nobody but Tyler Hero. The Bulls have swept the season series from the Heat. They just played a big game a week plus ago, and the Bulls got the big win. I don't know, man. I really like this spot for the Bulls tonight. Home game, the Bulls are going to get an extra gate. I know a lot of people were pissed about that, like, oh, ownership only cares about getting the gate. I'd say for the people who are going to the game tonight, enjoy it. We have not had any kind. This is a play in to get your butt kicked in the playoff. That's what this is. 2-step process. I'm very much rooting for the Bulls tonight. I am. I can't believe I'm saying this because I've done a few Bulls recaps this year where I said they've screwed it up. They should have been in for Cooper Flagg. I still believe that. But now where they are, I think that they should be going hard tonight for a dub. I think Kobe White goes off. I think Josh Giddey comes back and is a big game, and we go from there. Great win by the Blackhawks in their finale. It really was, Kyle. The Blackhawks season comes to a finish with 2 straight wins, actually. But it's just another disappointing campaign. Looking forward to seeing more from these young guys next season. Hope Davidson brings in the right coach to take them to the next level. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Obviously, the coach from Denver, as you said, Kyle, perfectly about a week ago, seems to be the leading candidate for the Hawks job. Another young coach who is being pursued by other teams, so that'll be interesting. I'm just looking for the Hawks to be relevant again. I know the plan actually seems to be working. They have so many young guys, and they're so young, but they're going to get another top pick. I think it's time to move. I think you can't be another 20-win bottom 3 team in the NHL next year. I just think it's time to make a big jump. And that includes Connor Bedard, who had 2 goals last night in the finale. I expect Connor Bedard to take another step. Keep in mind, the kid's only 19. Godfather. Thielbar pitching the 10th. How scary was that? No wonder I have ulcers. Yeah, but I thought the bullpen was managed really well last night. And I also thought was performed more than admirably. Really good bullpen work last night by the Cubs. Josh, honestly, different vibes around it the last 3 years, talking about the Bulls. They were bad to watch because of the vets like Zach and DeMar and AC on this team. However, this time, because we have something to build, I'm actually excited. There's Clyde. Good afternoon, buddy. Do you see the Bears going offense or defensive line at 10 or going with Boise State running back Ashton Genty? Tape don't lie. Genty could be a stud as a Bear. Genty won't be there at 10. I really don't think so. If he is, I think the Bears 100% lock him up. It sounds like everything I've read, some people I've talked to around the circles, think the Bears would take Ashton Genty at 10, 100% if he was there. I just don't think he'll be there. You guys know where I stand. I'm all about, I want to see people, if you're a Bears fan, you should be rooting hard for 3 quarterbacks to be taken in the top 8. Somebody plays really hard and gets sweaty over Jackson Dart, and Shedeur Sanders is still there. Or Shedeur Sanders gets overdrafted and Jackson Dart's there as the last quarterback. And people are like, oh my God, we got to move. And they call the Bears, and the Bears move 3 spots down. They grab a 2nd-round pick and a next year's first or something stupid because desperation of other teams. I don't anticipate. And I know yesterday in the recap lunch hour, Cap posed the question because somebody on CBS said their prediction was that the Bears would actually move up, trade up this year's 10, they're 41, and next year's 3rd, I think, to go get Ashton Genty at 4. I don't want to trade up in this draft. I don't think the Bears should trade up. If anything, I think they trade down, they stockpile picks, and they add really good players. Right now, they have the ability to add 3 contributors and a couple of starters in the first 3 picks, 10, 39, and 41. And that's what I would like to see. What do we get this? Oi, do. As much as I want a lottery pick, it's impossible to root against Kobe and Modest. I agree. So this is why I think tonight is such a must win. Obviously, it's a must win in the do or die scenario. But this was a waste of time if the Bulls lose. Now, if they were to win this game and go play Atlanta on Friday, different story. Because then if they beat Atlanta, they do lose their rights for the lottery. That's a different argument. But if they win this game, there's no punishment involved here. I think you got to go out and win the basketball game. I'm with you. It's going to be hard to root against Kobe and Modest. Eli, what's up? Pablo, I'm tempted to go buy an antenna for tonight's game. Let's just enjoy this game. This is a national TV game. I should have mentioned that. No antenna needed. This is actually a game you guys will be able to watch locally. It's on ESPN. This is a national televised game, so no one has to worry about not having CHSN. This is an actual opportunity to watch the Bulls on national television for the first time all year. Eric to Clyde would say, go get the best available player at 10. Hopefully Genty falls, but you never know. Swayze, I see the Bulls winning this game, and Atlanta is wounded. We should be able to get that one too. Yeah, Atlanta looked like they didn't want to be there last night. That's what I was like, that game was over early. Me and Cap were at the White Sox game. We got the playing game, and it's like Atlanta looked like they had no interest in being in the game. Eli, play and play out, get out whoever is going to get your head kicked in by Cleveland. Agreed. But there's some value in playing in a playoff series for some of these guys. Modest, Giddey, there's some actual value in that. So let's do one step at a time. Let's talk about the playing game tonight and then discuss Friday and whether or not the Bulls are going to play Cleveland. Bulls by 15 tonight. Giddey to have a double-double. Lip, it feels weird to me, okay, as we foreshadow our bet of the day. It feels weird to me. Everything, it just feels like a really good spot. And maybe I'm being tricked. I don't know. But it feels like a great spot. The real Phil Simms, good win last night. Go win the series. Talking about the Cubs today, who play at 3-10 to try to win 2 out of 3. Here's what the Cubs have guaranteed. A 3-3 road trip. A fantastic road trip, no matter what happens today. If the Cubs win and go 4-2 against the Dodgers and Padres, the Padres were an 11-0 team at home prior to, more than impressive. Young Soo, the Cubs bullpen in Cap's voice, horrible. Send them down to AAA. They weren't horrible last night. Then they did make 2 moves. Eli Morgan was sent to the IL, Pearson down to AAA, Luke Little up, Valencia's up. OD, Heat, he likes the team total of the Heat over 109.5. Swayze, the Hawks will make a couple of big moves in the next 2 off seasons to make themselves relevant again. Well, at least that's what I'm going for. I think going for it would be more like hoping for. Giddey lines almost call for a triple-double, with assists being the toughest mark. I'm not going to bet Giddey. Keep in mind, hasn't played in a week. I think that was all on purpose to get to this game. But I'm probably going to stay away because I think they're going to be inflated numbers on double-doubles and triple-doubles for Giddey tonight. I am going to hone in on Kobe. I think Kobe is a huge game. But to me, this is just about the game itself. Godfather, so be rewarded for playing like crap and being under 500 all year. Welcome to the NBA. I don't tell anyone how to fan. Enjoy it, Bulls fans. I could care less. I think, Godfather, you've earned that. You've earned that. That's why I asked the question. Do you care? Does it matter? Do you want them to win? Are you going to watch? Some people have complete apathy and don't care. And I get it. I totally understand that. And quite frankly, I have it too, but not, there's just there's a couple of guys on this team that has made the last 30 games fun. It's been fun to see Billy Donovan with a roster that suits him and some players that suit him. He's still playing with an incomplete group, too many guards, but they're playing with pace. If you flip the season in half and go back to the first half, Kobe White and Josh Giddey were not coexisting well together at all. Io was. Io looked like the guy that was going to be here next year with Josh Giddey. I think the real question of the offseason, and we'll ask these questions when it's time to ask them, is the Kobe White decision. It is going to be fascinating to me what the Bulls do with Kobe White. Because 2 months ago, I thought it was a foregone conclusion they were trading him. Now I'm looking at him and Giddey playing well together with the pace they're playing and going, interesting. 1 year left on a very team-friendly deal. Joe Cowley yesterday on the radio, I asked him about KD. He said the Bulls would like to be in that mix, but they don't have the right pieces that add up to that huge salary of KD. I still think the Bulls are another full season, another full year away from being able to add pieces as guys come off the books. But you can't run it back. Even as quote-unquote fun as the last 30 games have been, you can't run this group back out there. You got to make some big moves. Clyde, who should be the Blackhawks' new head coach? Colorado Avalanche head coach or ex-Flyers head coach John Tortorella? Ex-Blackhawks coach Trent Yawney? No. Yawney would tutor the young. Our guy Kyle had it the other day, the Denver head coach, Denver University head coach, young guy being sought after by many teams across the NHL. And the Blackhawks, I think I saw Suravelli yesterday on CHSN say that he is far and away the Blackhawks' number one choice. Adrian, Guff, fully with you on the view of this season as someone who completely disagreed on Mattis versus Dalton Connect because it was stupid by Cap. This draft isn't the draft people are making it out. Oh, I disagree with you, Adrian. The top 3 picks in this draft are studs. Actually, you can go 4. There's four dudes in this draft. The Bulls chose not to play. And then you're doing like everything else. You're hoping that you're going to land a guy that's like Mattis last year. A lot of teams thought that was a reach. He looks like he's going to be an actual player on this team. So
I gave them credit for that.
You have given him credit. Cap just walked in. Cap has given him definite credit for that. But at the time, there was a lot there. I know Cap wanted Don't Connect. I wanted Don't Connect. And quite frankly, if I were the Bulls, I'd be calling the Lakers this offseason again. I'd be calling about Don't Connect because Don't Connect looks like he is a player that hasn't wanted to be there since the Lakers traded him to Charlotte, and then the trade got rescinded due to a failed physical. So crazy. Hey, go to Hooters. It's spring break at Hooters this Friday. If you're looking for one last meal to celebrate Lent, you can get the crispy breaded shrimp and shrimp tacos for $9.99. Of course, you know my favorite, the Guinness Fish and Chips for $12.99. And guess what? It's the drink of the month, the People's Margarita. I think they should keep this on the menu. The People's Margarita. Tequila, Grand Marnier, fresh lime juice, simple syrup, pineapple juice, rimmed with the Tajin spice for an extra kick. Just $8 this month. And of course, you know, all day, every day, the $6 cocktails. Big fan of those as well. And go get the Chef Paul inspired clam chowder. The original recipe of clam chowder is Chef Paul. OriginalHooters.com. Visit one of 11 Chicagoland locations. Get Hooters to go. Pick it up. Order.hooters.com. Our great partners here on the Recap Lunch Hour, and we're very appreciative of them. Let's get back to the show. Genty won't make it past the Raiders at 6. Let's just move on. And plus, we don't know if there's teams that are going to be desperate to trade up for him. Like the Cowboys could be a team. They're nutty. They could do something crazy. Stat of the day from Kyle. First time in NHL history, all American-based original 6 teams are all out of the NHL playoffs. Wow, Kyle, that's a great stat of the day. We might have to use that today in the Recap Rush Hour. Wow. You hear that one, Cap?
What's that?
First time in NHL history.
That all 6 original 6 teams didn't make the playoffs?
Well, no, Toronto and Montreal might be in. Montreal might get in, but Toronto's in. All American-based original 6 teams out for the first time. Genty won't make it past the Raiders, as we said. Terry, those errors last night were big cost. Showed it in the 6th. Cubs need 6 or 7 strong innings from Boyd today. The ripple effect of losing still will wear on the pen if they're now 1 through 4 can't go deep into games. Okay, calm down, Terry. Yes, the errors, they were, I would say they're quote-unquote big because you had back-to-back outs, and then it led to a solo home run. The Cubs found a way to win the game. It led to Shota throwing more pitches, no doubt. But the Cubs finally are going to come home for an extended period here after today. They play an 8-game homestand, but they have 4 off days starting tomorrow. 4. And the it doesn't require the Cubs using a 5th starter that entire time. It's a 12-day stretch where the Cubs do not have to use a 5th starter. May 3rd, the next time the Cubs need to use a 5th starter. They need a breather. This team has been on the road a lot, out west a ton, and they haven't had a lot of off days at all. And so the Cubs are going to get all of that when they get back to Wrigley Field. Look, it's going to be another tough homestand. I think it's the Dodgers, it's the Phillies, and who am I missing? There's another really good team in there. I know the Dodgers and Phillies are in there off the top of my head, and I'm looking it up here just so we're all on the same page. Oh, they get the Diamondbacks to start it. 2-game series with the Dodgers, and then they'll be done with the Dodgers until the playoffs. Then they get 3 against the Phillies before a road trip again to Pittsburgh and Milwaukee. So the Cubs are going to get a breather here coming up. Adrian, it's 2026. That's when people should be hyping, although I don't think the Bulls are going to tank either. Exactly. I think the only way they get better is via big trade. That was the confidence booster the bullpen needed, Erica says. Good teams find different ways to win. Hopefully they can remain consistent. For what it's worth, I wanted them to tank this year because I really like Cooper Flagg. I think he's an all-star level player, but apart from him and maybe Dylan Harper, a lot of these guys aren't as good as people think. We don't know that yet, Adrian. A lot of these people need to it's all about development. And depending on where the organizations are that get them, we'll see. But Cooper Flagg's a dude. Forever and always, Cooper Flagg will be a dude. 8 seeds have beaten once before. Like, what is it, twice? 3 times ever, Sean, in the history of the NBA? So, yeah, while it's possible, the Bulls, how many times has an 8 seed beaten a 1 in the NBA? 6 times, okay? 2023 when the Heat beat the Bucks. I forgot about that one. So it's happened 6 times. And the Bulls, of course, in 2012 were the 1 seed when Derek tore his knee. That was terrible. Saw you guys on the broadcast last night. Yeah, Eli, we got a couple texts that people were seeing us. I don't know if they actually featured us, but I think you could see us behind the batter most times. Erica, Ryan Presley's last outings have been really good. And that's what I said a couple of days ago, that he's starting to put some 1, 2, 3s together. He found a new team. He's back in the old closer's role, and he seems to be throwing a lot more strikes, which before he was having major issues with. Kurt says the percentage that the Cubs will actually extend Tucker and not a fake we tried. I'll put it at 25 right now. Just because we need to see. Kyle Tucker said he wants to see how his wife adjusts to Wrigley Field in Chicago. I can't imagine she would have a tough time with that once the weather turns here. But it's going to be a lot of money, and it should be. If I were Kyle Tucker, I'd be asking for every dime. Becky says the Cubs get the dub last night. The Avs are so back. Only as good as your last back-to-back, right, Breck? The Avs, big Avs fan out there. He gets the Denver Nuggets in the playoffs, even though they're kind of a mess right now, but you get the historically one of the greatest players of all time playing for you. The Avs, I mean, I guess he's paying for it with the Rockies out there, but come on. I think Clyde is talking about Denver University hockey coach. He is. Randall, good afternoon. How about the Blackhawks last 2 games? Win, baby, win. Yeah, going off on a high note. I mean, it's fine, but I'm kind of ready for the Hawks to turn a corner. Valencia can throw 100. I think he can. Danny, I think the Bulls should sign Miles Turner in the offseason. Then when it comes to small forward, I'm not sure. Interesting take. Huh. I'd like to see the Bulls at least think about the idea of acquiring a superstar. I'm with Cowley. If you do the math and the contracts and stuff, there's not a lot of creativity there with the Bulls. A couple of more here. Godfather, Abbott and Costello was right. Who's on third? Should have been Chapman or Bregman, right, Mr. Ricketts? I'll tell you what. Here's what happens. How about this for the way the cookie crumbles? Matt Shaw gets optioned to AAA last night, and Alex Bregman homers twice. That's how it's been. The Bregman situation is going to be one that's going to be really tough to not get over. Alex Bregman currently 321, 365, 564, 929 OPS. He leads the American League in hits, the American League in doubles. No bueno right there for the Cubs. I think the top 2 picks on this draft are studs. The other guys are pretty good. We'll see, Adrian. Clyde, the favorite right now is David Carl from Denver. We'll see what Davidson does, though. Who you got in the Champions League, Landon? Hey, I got to have some kind of blind spot, my friend, and that's what it is. My blind spot will be the Champions League. Not a big football guy here. Sorry if I disappointed you guys, but not a big football guy. Dalton Connect is basically Kevin Huerter. Maybe a cheaper version, though, Adrian. Kevin Huerter has 1 year left on his deal. I do expect him to be here next year. We'll see. Lip, this is an interesting. I like this, man. If you're looking to take a chance, throw $10 on the Nuggets. They have the best player in the game. Okay, they have the one of the greatest players in the history of the game, and they're 30-1 due to the coaching and mess of the front office. You could just see the team like this have a rallying cry and get hot. 30-1 We'll have to take a look. A couple of more. Great job on the score yesterday. Can you get a spot on Cap and Jay Hood? I don't know, man. Cap Station doesn't seem to like me as much as the other one, so we'll have to see if we can put that into the mix. Cap and Jay Hood and Guff. I don't know if there's room for me in that studio.
There would be with me.
There would be with Cap, he says. All right, that's my guy. What else we got? Why is the Robert for Outman Dodgers Sox rumor starting to circulate again? It's going to be out there, guys. Don't get crazy. Yeah. Who, Robert?
He's got a 500 OPS. You can't give up quality players for him.
He's going to get traded for a quality player. As long as when it gets warmer, he will get traded. He had a great catch last night. Cap and I were there at the game with his son. Phenomenal catch. He will heat up. There's zero protection in that lineup. Robert, as long as he stays on the field, will get dealt. But come on, guys. Like, he's going to have to pick it up. He's going to have to start hitting, because if he doesn't, he's just a really good player with a lot of talent and can play defensively, but he's not going to get a top 50 prospect if this is how he continues. Cubs get this one today, says Swayze. This is more than we could have asked for. Time for flexing to flex. There we go.
Is he getting called up?
I didn't see anything about Chris Flexen, but I've been saying Chris Flexen's name for 2 weeks. Chris Flexen.
Hey, back in the lineup.
Yeah, I haven't seen him get called up just yet. Flexen right now, not still in AAA Iowa staff. Adrian, I'm with you at the end of the day. If you're the Bulls, you need to draft a player like Malik and sign some positive plus contracts and free agency. Then at the deadline, if you're solid, make a trade. I think the only way the Bulls can flip this and be a destination again is if somebody like KD, okay, like the Bulls were to acquire KD. KD at this point in his career wants to be a guy who is riding coattails to a title. Okay, does he want to come to Chicago? I think he likes the idea of wearing the Bulls jersey. He likes some of the pieces. We know he likes Modest. I just don't know if you tell me Giannis will force himself out of Milwaukee this offseason because he gets swept by the Pacers or something, and the Bulls could find some way to get him and a KD, that's how I think the Bulls become a destination again, is that they make a big trade, because I just don't see them ever tanking. If they weren't going to do it this year, I don't know in the foreseeable future when it's going to happen again. All right, let's do the bet of the day. It's been a tough sled here. Springs did not have it last night. Threw way too many balls. Cap and I are sitting there next to each other going, this isn't good. This isn't good. We don't like the ratio of balls to strikes. And he struck out 4. The over was 5.5. I think had he been at least near the zone, geez, I think we had a shot at this. Guys, I was alluding to it earlier. I love the Bulls tonight, almost irrationally, Cap. I almost irrationally love the Bulls. I think they win by 10 or more.
I hope so.
I'm laying the 1.5. I'm not going to lie to you. I might ladder the Bulls tonight. I might ladder the Bulls. I may go -5. I may go all the way up to 10. I may go all the way up to 9.5 tonight, which, by the way, if we were to do that, let's just give you a little insight. So ladders are, just in case you're looking for a definition, you lay the 1.5. If you're confident the Bulls are going to win by 10, you're going to, looks like the number just went up. As I open the app, the number now is 2. So that tells you where people are leaning. The Bulls are -2 at -106. But if you were to ladder, you like the Bulls to win by 10. Okay. Just looking for the alternates here. Bulls to win by 10. You are going to bet that all the way up. Okay. And I'm trying, there's so many darn bets for these games tonight that, quite frankly, are popular. Alternate. We need some alternate spreads. Alternate spread. Bulls -9.5 is +235. So the ladder would be you play 2.5, 3.5, 4.5, 5.5, 6.5, 7.5, 8.5, 9.5. Yes, I know. I know what I'm telling you. But that's what I'm thinking about doing. I'm definitely laying the 1.5. Mark says, go Bulls. Don't mess with the Blackhawks uniform next year. It's already the best sweater. Let's see. I hear you and hear your reasoning, how you look at the team, though. Say is back in the lineup today, says Erica. Cap just mentioned that over my shoulder here. Erica wants to know who Cap would take in the NFL draft because he's sitting next to me and we're wrapping up the show. I will ask him. Cap, who do you want to take in the NFL draft?
Mason Graham or Will Campbell.
Mason Graham or Will Campbell, both of who I believe will not be there at 10.
Connerly also.
Luke Connerly as well. So
Josh, is it Luke or Josh?
Josh Connerly, yeah. So Cap is in the same line as I. He wants big dudes that move people that way. I don't see either of those players being there at 10 for the Bears. But again, I think the Bears are in the sweetest spot of all teams. They're a team that doesn't need a quarterback. They're a team that could use an edge rusher, but don't need to go get Abdul Carter. And I think they let the desperation of a bad quarterback draft play out in front of them and let just sit there and wait for a great player to fall to you like Will Campbell, or for 3 quarterbacks to be taken in the top 8 and somebody being so desperate to jump the Saints that they call the Bears and say, are so desperate to get that 4th quarterback like Jackson Dart that they call the Bears and say, what do you want? We'll give you next year's 1. We'll give you our pick in the first round this year and then 2. Then I'm like, hell yeah. Because if you look at most draft analysts, they think picks number 8 through 40 are they're basically the same guy. I know they're not the same guy, but the talent level is the same. It's a deep draft. It's not a great draft. And for the Bears, that's what I think they need. Eric, you say left tackle. Adrian likes to tackle for Minnesota. Cap will love Banks Jr. if the Bears take him. So there we go. Laying the 1.5 tonight. Folks, reminder, you can watch the game on ESPN. You don't have to have CHSN to watch this. It's a national televised game, so everyone can rest easy. For the first time all year, the Bulls are on national TV exclusively. They were one other time on ESPN. It was a side-by-side. They're exclusively on ESPN. We're laying the 1.5 here at the recap. Mark, are we going to the Bears draft party that we're doing? I don't believe we are. Lip Ripper says Bulls money line. I know Lip would be with us for sure. Let's get our record back up again. We need to get that puppy to 44, 42, and 1. They're 42 and 2. Great lunch hour crowd. Once again, you guys are the best. Take care of yourselves. Hey, watch the Bulls tonight. I think it's a must win. Let's see if they can put it together and get to Friday. I think Kobe has a huge game. Giddey has a huge game, and the Bulls put the heat packing for the winter, or for the summer, I should say. For everybody here at the recap, for Cap, for Katie, who eventually will join us again, I'm Ryan McGuffey. This has been the Recap Lunch Hour with Guff, me, Ryan McGuffey, brought to you by our partners at Hooters. Visit originalhooters.com and one of the 11 Chicagoland locations. We'll see you tomorrow.